Live now to Liberal MP Ted O'Brien, who's on the 2032 Olympic Candidature Leadership Group. Ted O'Brien, thanks for your time. Do you think Queensland will agree to this partnership?
Good morning, Laura. Not only will they agree, but I believe the Prime Minister's offer has put us in the box seat to secure the 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games. We're not there yet, but by virtue of his offer, we have now jumped what I think is the most challenging hurdle of the entire deal-making process. So we still take nothing for granted. There's some way to go yet, but I can't tell you how delighted I am with what the Prime Minister has put on the table.
Yeah, we certainly look like front runners for 2032. You've got to say that at this stage. Australians always like an underdog, but perhaps we should play that game and maintain that status. But what kind of powers does the federal government want if it's going to be this joint partnership?
Well, ultimately, we just want to make sure that a shared funding arrangement converts into a shared governance arrangement. And that means a true, genuine partnership. It means that the federal government is on equal par with the state when it comes to the planning, scoping, and indeed financing and delivery of critical infrastructure for the Games. That's what it's all about. In terms of how we establish that, they're the conversations that begin today. It was only yesterday that the IOC required guarantees from all three tiers of government. Our guarantees, done, tick, delivered. Brisbane City Council, done, tick, delivered. The Queensland State Government really wanted help from the Commonwealth in order for them to submit theirs. And thanks to Prime Minister Scott Morrison, they're getting the assistance they need, and we'll have a seat at the table to make sure that taxpayer money is spent in a responsible fashion and we deliver the greatest games we can.
Do you think Scott Morrison will still be Prime Minister by then?
Well, I hope so.
I thought you would say that.
He's backing in Queensland, and I reckon Queensland's backing him in.
No, perhaps Anastasia Palaszczuk will be there too. But Ted O'Brien, look, let's come back to what's happening right now. And as we look at the Olympics in 2032, we've got to remember that there's an Olympics in Japan in just 3 months' time. We've seen an explosion of COVID cases there. Do you think our athletes should still be going?
Oh, look, there's no doubt that what the Japanese government have had to manage over the last 18 months, when you know that the world is watching and they're waiting for an Olympic Games, it's tough. Can I say, though, that I can't think of any nation that will be better prepared than Japan. They are a wonderful friend and ally of Australia's, but more than that, as someone who's done a lot of work up in Japan, I can assure you they plan for things methodically. If the Japanese government are confident to have the Games proceed, then I believe our own athletes, of course, they'll make their own decision about themselves.
We've got to make our own decisions about vaccines, don't we? Don't we have to make you mean Australian athletes simply going to jump the queue for a vaccination?
No, indeed. Those decisions are in the process of being made and discussed. I won't preempt any decisions from the Sports Minister today. But to say that, you know, that the Olympic Games are important to all of the world now. But if I can bring it back to Queensland, here we have an opportunity to have half the world's eyeballs on Brisbane 2032. We have an opportunity for the Sunshine Coast, the Gold Coast and Brisbane to transform themselves. This is an opportunity for Queensland to accelerate the delivery of critical infrastructure in a runway that will be over 10 years. This will be unprecedented. And now that we have an apolitical partnership formed thanks to the PM, then it's all ahead of us. But we're not there yet. Let's wait to see how the rest of the bid goes.
I wonder what you make, because you've got your eyes on the Olympics. I wonder what you make of Mark McGowan's comments yesterday. Through his comments, I mean, if the federal government followed his advice, and he's saying no one should be allowed to go overseas for athletics meetings, for funerals, for weddings, only in really extenuating circumstances. I mean, under that prescription, is Mark McGowan saying that he doesn't think Australians should be allowed to go to the Olympics in Japan?
Oh, look, the last thing I'm going to do is try and translate Mark McGowan's thinking. He can speak for himself. Australia is in such a good position, even for this 2032 bid, because we've done such a good job of managing COVID-19. And there's just no doubt about that. We need to continue to adopt that same evidence-based approach. What Scott Morrison has done with National Cabinet, again, depoliticising a process, bringing the country together. That'll be the process that determines these things based on the advice from the medico experts. And so Mr McGowan can have his opinion, but opinions aren't what does the job.
OK, just quickly before we let you go, all commercial flights will be stopped from India, is my understanding. That's been decided by the National Security Committee of Cabinet. Now, there'll be no special treatment for cricketers. What does this say to the rest of the world, and what does it say to Australians stranded in India right now?
Well, I think what it does say, and I haven't seen the latest coming out of the NSC, but I do believe it says, firstly, that people's safety and health and well-being is of our primary concern. Secondly, we need to do our bit to help those neighbours who are most in trouble. And thirdly, there's no easy decisions in this, but those decisions are always taken with the interests of our nation, our people first. And I'd have confidence that any decision made today by the NSC would reflect that approach. OK, Ted O'Brien, we'll leave it there. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Laura. Great chatting to you.